I hope I don't fart. Are we recording me talking about farting?
Yeah, we are. But that's okay. It's good to... Everybody farts.
Everybody toots.
This week on Fartcast Worldwide.
I feel like that's I don't know. I feel like people have a lot of fart media out there.
I'm sure there's a fart podcast.
I'm not involved in fart media.
I don't want to
I don't know anything about fart media.
All right, if you're listening and you're into fart media, let us know. Or actually don't, please.
No. How's it going?
This is
I'm
Horror
Sarah,
/ Stories.
And this is Horror / Stories.
And I'm Matty. That was a good high five. Oh, this is going to be unhinged.
Should we do that again? Like, we need to figure out what our intro is.
I think that was perfect, honestly.
Because we're perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, yep, I'm Sarah. Oh my god.
All right, what's up, everyone?
I'm Sarah.
I'm Matty.
And this is Horror / Stories. We're siblings. We like watching horror movies and we like talking about them. So thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Just as we're warming up, what's something scary that's on your mind this week?
Ooh, something scary that's on my mind this week. I just started listening to this podcast from Serial Productions called S-Town, and it's like about a kind of like a murder mystery in a small town in Alabama, and that's kind of got some spooky vibes. I've been thinking about that a lot.
I think I listened to the first, at least part of that. I don't think I ever listened to all of the episodes, but I listened to at least some of them.
Is it good, do you think?
I don't remember. It was a few years ago. I don't want to say I got bored eventually because I just don't remember.
Strong endorsement from Sarah.
It was interesting. It was definitely compelling.
Okay. Well, I'm enjoying it so far.
Good.
How about you? What's spooky thing on your mind this week?
I'm really excited about the final book in the Indian Lake trilogy by Stephen Graham Jones came out last week. The Angel of Indian Lake. I absolutely love that trilogy. I love Stephen Graham Jones. I'm hoping that at some point Maddie and I will read all three of the books together and we can talk about them a little bit on this show, because if you're not familiar, it's kind of, Stephen Graham Jones is just an incredible author, but the series is kind of a tribute to slasher movies. Yeah, it's excellent. So that was pretty exciting, and that's what's up with me.
Cool. Yeah, let's read that.
I think it'd be great.
I bet it'd be fun.
So this week, I know at the end of our intro episode, we said we were going to start by talking about Five Nights at Freddy's. And we did record an episode where we tried to talk about Five Nights at Freddy's.
And once we started, we realized that the Five Nights at Freddy's rabbit hole goes very deep, and it is a little bit more than we could cover in one podcast.
The lore goes so deep. There are so many, at least YouTube videos out there for if you're interested in getting into FNAF lore. Ben, my husband, likes to say that I watched 12 hours of an hour and a half movie. I could talk to you a lot about Five Nights at Freddy's, and I would love to. So if anyone wants to talk about it, hyperfixate, nerd out, please leave us a comment, send us a message. I'm super into it. But that was just, there is too much with that franchise to really get into.
Yeah, it's like a whole universe. It seems really cool. So yeah, if you're really wanting us to talk about it, maybe we can come back to it and maybe even make it a multiple part episode. But
oh man. Real quick,
yeah.
How would you rate that movie? Like on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being don't watch this movie and 5 being this is my latest obsession.
I would say I give it like a 3 3/4.
That's fair.
Yeah, I thought it was fun.
I agree. I'm going to give it a 4. Mm-hmm. It's not my latest obsession, but I really enjoyed it. I watched it twice, and that was enough.
Nice. So instead of talking about Five Nights at Freddy's, we just decided we're going to talk about this other movie. And what was the movie that we picked, Sarah?
We are going to talk about Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. It sounds like song lyrics. I don't know why. But yeah, this is a A24 film. One of my favorite horror studios also produced Marcel the Shell, the movie. Fun fact. Wild. Very adorable movie. And oh my gosh, this movie, it went places. We decided when we were discussing this podcast that we don't want to spend too much time summarizing plots because spoilers, and also we want you to make your own judgment about what you think the movie is about. But we do need to reference the plot. So instead of trying to really go into detail, we decided we're going to flip a coin and challenge ourselves that whoever the coin chooses needs to summarize the movie plot in 60 seconds or less.
Yep, I got my timer set. I've got a coin that we're going to flip. Here's some coin ASMR.
It's very, very lovely.
Okay, heads. I'll be heads. Your tails.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, let's flip it and heads.
Looks like it's your challenge this week, Sarah.
Okay, do you want to... Here's the timer. I guess my question is how much, like, when we summarize, am I just giving an overall overview of what it's about, or am I, like, trying to say start to finish?
I think it's whatever you can get in 60 seconds.
Alrighty, here we go.
Okay. Ready?
Yes.
Mark, get set, go.
Okay, so a group of friends who are not very close gets together for a party, a weekend getaway at a very fancy mansion. They get kind of locked in because there's a hurricane outside. They're playing a game that's a little bit like Mafia. If you've played Mafia, where basically you have a murderer, you try to figure out who the murderer is, and the power's out, they don't have internet connection, and then slowly people start dying. So they start trying to figure out who the murderer is. I have more time?
Yeah, you got like 20 seconds left.
Oh, wow. Okay. And they're all on drugs. They're on so many drugs. And
so many drugs.
They're all suspicious of each other. And there are so many, dynamics between these friendships, animosities, tensions.
And time.
I think I got it.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a lot. And you didn't give like too many spoilers either.
Yeah, I didn't think
well done.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so then one thing we're going to try out for this podcast as we're getting started out is we thought we'd play a little game to go over the tropes. So the game we played this time is Trope Bingo. And we're going to see, is this fun? If it's not fun, we'll figure out something else. But if it is fun, let's just see how it goes.
Yeah, let us know what you think.
So Maddie and I each created our own bingo sheets. And we created
trope bingo cards.
Horror movie trope bingo cards. We made the cards before we decided what movie we were going to watch. And then as we're watching the movie, we checked off items on our bingo scorecards to see how many tropes we guessed. Or I don't know if we guessed, like how many tropes on our bingo cards were in the movie.
See if either of us won bingo in trope bingo. My card is a 4x4, and at the top it just says BING because it's only 4 letters. So I feel like it's an advertisement for like the search engine.
Being the search. I put Spoopy at the top.
Spoopy. We've got Spoopy and Bing. All right, Sarah, what tropes did you get on your bingo card list?
Okay, so the tropes that I checked off, and I did not get bingo, unfortunately. weapon just out of reach. Final girl. We decided that it's close enough to the final girl that we're counting it.
Yeah, it's like pushing the definition of final girl a little bit, but not that far.
It's subverting the trope.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Lights out,
Mm-hmm.
Trapped inside because they're trapped because of the hurricane. Let's split up.
Mm-hmm.
And crazy person that no one believes.
And no bingo for you.
No bingo for me.
Okay, what did I have on mine? I also had Let's Split Up. I also did not get bingo on mine, but I had Let's Split Up. I had Getting Chased and Trips while being chased. That was definitely in there. Got Car Won't Start. Somebody tries to drive a car away, but the car mysteriously will not start. I've got Gaslighting, which is just where like somebody doesn't believe the person who is giving like the most, I don't know, reasonable explanation. And Lights Out and Fake Jump Scare. So I got, I don't know, like 5 or 6.
I guess
but
my
no
question,
bingo.
sorry to interrupt you. My question about fake jump scare is what's the difference between a fake jump scare and a real jump scare? Because isn't a jump scare a jump scare?
Yeah, I guess when I think fake jump scare, I think about like a jump scare that's not actually presenting any danger.
I see.
Like the classic example would be like something makes a noise and then you turn and it's just like a cat.
Mm-hmm. The cat jump scare classic.
Cat jump scare. Mm-hmm. All right.
So what was your favorite movement? Your favorite moment in the movie?
My favorite movement in the movie was I think probably the end. I mean, there were so many great moments in
Which
this
part
movie.
of the end?
The video on the phone. No, I'm not gonna spoil it, but if you watch this movie, like, yeah, you'll know what I'm talking about. I don't know.
That was, I do have to say that was one of my top 2. There were 2 moments that were my favorite, and one was the Pete Davidson TikTok, and the second was when they are all scrambling on the floor for the gun, and Alice keeps saying stuff like, "Ow, my leg," because she's been shot in the leg, and she just keeps. They're all fighting. It's very dramatic. They're all trying to get this gun. And it is so funny.
It's so funny. It's just like, oh my gosh. Just one thing I love generally about this movie is how many times they're in like a real crisis situation and they still take the time to like debate about who's being a victim and like whose politics are superior and just like, I don't know, all of the stuff that is like so ridiculous in the scope of what's going on in the movie. Yeah, I felt like it poked fun at like specifically like the demographic that I consider myself to be a part of, you know, like, I don't know, just kind of like queer woke people, you know? And I just felt roasted in the most wonderful way possible.
The entire movie, I love the classic, murder mystery party trope. That's so much fun. But also these people were having, even though they're all kind of annoying, I could see myself having a lot of fun at this
I know,
party.
you're like, oh, this party kind of slaps, but also it's like really awful.
They're kind of likable and unlikable at the same time, everyone there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought the acting was great. I had a blast. It was funny. Did you feel like it was scary?
I felt like I think the first time I watched it, I did feel scared. I think the second time around, since I already knew what was going to happen, there's like just stuff that you watch in hindsight and you're like, oh, okay, that's actually really funny in hindsight, I guess.
Yeah. I think I had maybe some like, ooh, like nail biter, like, ooh, that's hard to watch moments, which I think is pretty typical of A24.
Yeah.
They're very into that sort of moment. They're very into that sort of moment.
That sort of moment. We're all into that sort of moment, aren't we?
And for some reason, I just felt like I said this to Maddie while we were watching the movie. B just had the biggest A24 vibes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Seriously, it was just like, oh, if I just ran into you on the street as a person, I would just be like, oh, you're probably a protagonist in an A24 film, and that probably means that I'm about to die.
Yeah, we can't be friends.
Yeah, right. It's like, I need to get into a different movie.
I thought the casting was excellent. I thought the acting was great.
Seriously. And also, like, just the whole cinematography, how they were able to write such a funny script and have the characters deliver it in a way that didn't take away from, like, just the tension and the action of it all. Like,
Yeah.
It's like I was laughing, but then, like, the filmmaking and the way the camera work and lighting was done was so effective that I could switch back into being scared, like, just like that.
And the audio as well, because there was this one moment when they're playing the game. They're playing the slapping game.
Yeah.
They play this game where they slap each other and take shots. And
We're calling it slappy drink. Drinky slap the game.
And there's this moment where it goes from, like, good atmosphere, everyone's having a great time, to all of a sudden the music stops. The tension just climbs. And I think I said to you, like, what just changed? Like, something, the atmosphere just changed.
Yeah.
The
Oh, yeah. I
tension just
remember
changed.
that. Oh, my gosh. It was just like, yeah, I think just all around, it felt like they were manipulating our emotions confidently. It wasn't
Right.
like a scary movie where they were trying to get our attention. It's like they had our attention and they were just toying with us. Like, that's how I felt about it.
So as we're watching this movie, I kept noticing that half of the characters' faces in some of the scenes would be completely off screen. You'd just see half of their face. And I thought, that's a really interesting filmmaking decision. I haven't seen that before. And I was going to talk about that here because I just thought that was so fascinating. And then it's only after the movie ends, when we see the end credits and half the names are cut off, that we realized that the projecting,
Like we were watching in
laptop.
the wrong resolution or something.
yeah,
So-
the laptop, it was centered on the laptop, but projecting to the monitor was not. It was off center.
Which, yeah, it was crazy to me because I didn't even notice. And I think maybe that's a testament to my own inattentiveness, or potentially, like, I don't know, the framing of, like, the shots was really good.
So we
And
literally
didn't notice.
missed a quarter of the movie.
Yeah, technically we missed a quarter of the movie. Bumskis.
What was your least favorite moment?
It's hard for me to even think of because I really enjoyed pretty much the whole thing. Maybe some of the violence was just like a little gratuitous, but I also wouldn't have changed it. I felt like it contributed to, like, the whole movie in a cohesive way.
Yeah.
How about you?
It's hard for me to say that that I have a least favorite moment. I felt like some of the things were a little bit maybe heavy-handed, but maybe they weren't. You know, for example, at the very beginning of the movie, when B leaves the mirror open in the car,
Yeah.
we already know the car's going to run out of batteries.
Right.
But I don't really have a problem with that either, because you know what type of movie you're getting into. You're getting into a trapped teenage party murder mystery.
Yeah. Yeah, it felt like, I don't know, we're in some contexts I would have seen that something like that as like, oh my gosh, okay, you're just spoon feeding me this like dramatic irony right now or whatever. But it felt more like a wink at the audience of like, look at this.
You're going to
You
love
know,
this.
you,
Yeah.
you know it's coming. You know. Yeah, it felt like more like I was being brought into an inside joke instead of being told a really obvious dumb punchline.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So let's rate the movie, and let's rate how scary, how gory, how good.
All
So
right.
let's start with how scary on a scale of 1 to 5. And I'm not sure what the rating is. Rating is probably, do you think it's PG-13 or R?
I think it's R.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty gory. So, like, a 5 scary is I will never sleep again.
Yeah.
I don't think I can be alone ever again. And a 1 scary is...
Like, I didn't realize I was watching a scary movie.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Should I go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I felt like scariness-wise, I want to say a 3. Because I felt scared at times, but I feel like I was laughing more than I was, like, huddling up.
Yeah. I think I'm going to give it a 2. And I guess we'll get into gore because for me, it was... I wouldn't say it was scary. It was pretty gory. There were some good jump scare moments. I love the jump scares. But overall, I was not scared.
I think that's totally fair. I also, like, part of me wishes that we had watched it during, like, a thunderstorm. Because I feel like it takes place in a hurricane.
Yes.
And just having that immersive experience.
Okay. How gory on a scale of 1 to 5?
Ooh, I would say... I'd give it, like, a 4. It was not a bloodbath. Or maybe I'll give it, like, a 3.5. Because, yeah, it like wasn't a bloodbath, but the gore felt very grounded in reality. Like, it wasn't, like, cartoon gore. It would, like, if somebody got stabbed, it felt like they were getting stabbed. And if somebody got shot, it felt like they were getting shot. Except for that. Maybe not the whole time. And there's a lot of blood, and there's, like, a lot of, like, I'd say a reasonable amount of, like, body horror, but it didn't feel like it was, like, the central focus of the film.
Yeah. I think I'm going to go with a 3 for gore because they show a bullet wound. You know, they show... and we had a pretty graphic head injury moment.
Yeah, that
actually 2
was, like, pretty intense. I don't know. Just
How
seeing
would you
people get hit in the head is hard to watch.
My question for you is, what would you describe that? Is that fear for you when you watch something like that happen? Is that scary or what is that?
Oh, it's your, I mean, like, it's like your mirror neurons. And I know that, like, if you have, like, a really intense response like that, it can sometimes be categorized as, like, mirror touch synesthesia, you know, like, where you're, like, literally feeling what you see happen to someone else. But, yeah, I guess, like, maybe just, like, a sympathetic nervous response or something.
I just don't know. Maybe that's horror, because I don't know that I would classify that as fear, but maybe that feeling is horror.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, because I guess, like... that is kind of what is scary about movies, is imagining yourself in situations where stuff is happening to you. So, like,
well, not even, I don't even know that that's something that I'm imagining happening to myself, but even witnessing that.
Yeah, it's almost like a reflex, like a, oof.
Yeah, it's some sort of feeling. I'm going to call it horror.
All right, cool.
Okay, and then how good on a scale of 1 to 5? Same scale as with FNAF.
Oh, man. I really liked this one. If not a 5, I'd say, like, a 4 or a 4.5. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie.
I'm going to give it a 4. I thought it was great. I thought it was funny. Again, all the same things we already said, but casting, excellent. Acting, great.
Yeah, it didn't feel
Atmosphere.
like there was... It felt like everything was taken into consideration. In terms of the people that they had working on the different elements of the movie. It
lived up to the A24 name, but it also leaned into the trope expectations you'd have from watching this type of movie.
I totally agree. Where do you think it ranks for you in terms of the other A24 films that you've seen?
Well, the thing is, I'm not sure. I'm not always aware when I'm watching an A24 movie.
Sure, yeah.
So the A24 movies I know that I've watched were obviously Hereditary, Midsommar, and X.
Oh, I just saw X recently.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
Where does it rank? It was not nearly as scary as the first 2.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
It's so interesting because they're all so different, but what I would say they all have in common is that horror aspect of it. I thought, watching the trailer, the actual movie is quite different from what I thought it would be based on the trailer. And I kind of thought they were going to do this whole real life tensions turning into supernatural, kind of the Hereditary route. And they didn't do that, but they, again, very much play into, same with Midsommar, real life tensions plus drugs.
Yeah. Actually,
It's just amplified.
In Hereditary too.
Well, yeah,
like
there's the
just for like an
drugs.
element of it, like that's such a. I feel like that brings such an element of realism because if you're intoxicated in a tense situation, like it feels like a lot more is possible in terms of people's unexpected behavior and reactions. And I feel like it opens the door for a lot more plot elements that you wouldn't normally get.
And especially when you have people all across the spectrum of drug usage, where you have someone who has been sober for a long time and they are in an incredibly stressful situation. They've seen someone murdered in front of them. So, of course, if anyone's going to have a moment where they are going to lean on something that brings them comfort, understandably, then you're in this situation again, and you're going to have the impact of that substance, but you're also going to have the impact of your feelings. And then you have B, who kind of gave the impression of not being a very experienced drug user. We'd love to hear your feedback about the podcast, so feel free to send us your suggestions, message us. Are you listening? Do you like it?
Yeah.
We love you.
Give us validation or hurl insults. I don't know.
Send us a movie suggestion
engage.
that we can add to this bowl of movies.
Leslie Bowl.
What's your favorite horror movie? Did you watch Bodies, Bodies, Bodies? What did you think? Did you watch Five Nights at Freddy's? What did you think?
Yeah.
And thanks you so much for listening. We love you.
We love you. Bye.
See you on the flip side.
Outro music, go.
I hope I don't fart. Hope I don't fart. Hope I don't fart. I'm involved in fart media. I'm involved in fart media.
Everybody farts.
I'm involved in fart media.
Everybody farts.
I'm involved in fart media.
Everybody farts.
I'm involved in fart media.